Mastermind for Men is a supportive space where men are encouraged to grow into their best selves. We believe every man has a unique purpose and a gift to share with the world. Our dream is that this community acts as a catalyst, helping us unlock our potential and walk confidently in our purpose. Together, let's foster courage and boldness as we become the men we were born to be, making a positive impact on our families, communities, and living lives of purpose. Welcome to Mastermind for Men. Together we are bigger, better, and stronger. Iron sharpens iron.
All right, gentlemen, how are we doing? I trust everybody is good. I'm glad to be on here once again. I hope that you are enjoying the weather, that you are taking out some time to just top up your vitamin D levels. Well, it's that time once again for us to kind of like come on here and hang out and just sharpen one another and just challenge our way of thinking. And yeah, so listen here, if you're still contemplating to jump on here, come on right now, because we're about to dive into this thing straight away. As you guys know that obviously. All right, let me bring in my bro here. Let me bring my bro in. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I had to go and pick up my son.
No, it's all good, man. Thank you so much for keeping the fort last week, man.
No,
I thought I was gonna make it on time, but no.
Things happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You enjoying the weather? Are you kind of like, no, this is not from the Lord?
No, you've got to sit down before you enjoy it. But you know what? However little we can enjoy.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, man. That's it. And it's funny, isn't it? Because we throughout the year we're like, wow, winter is bad. I can't wait for summer to come, and then summer shows up, and it's like, no, man, what is this? Why are we being fried?
Does it have to be this hot?
Now, but thank God.
Must be laughing, you know.
Yeah, I know. Right. But thanks so much for jumping on. So, gents, we're just going to jump straight into it. And what I want us to do this evening, I want us to talk about the power of gratitude. I think this is something that we kind of like underestimate, because if we truly understand the power that lies within, just being grateful for where we are, because you see, being grateful is not a weakness. It is not passive. It takes something from you when you're being grateful. It requires us to actually step into some form of action. I can't just say, oh, I'm so grateful, but my demeanor doesn't say that I'm grateful. It is not ignoring the fight and all the challenges that's going on in our lives. It's choosing how to fight and how to respond to certain circumstances in our lives. So, especially for us as men, life often teaches us, we gotta grind, we gotta, protect, we gotta push through, and men don't cry, but when it comes to gratitude is one of those most overlooked strengths that we can carry. It's like when you step into a place of gratitude, there's some power that you step into, because you realize that, no, I'm not stuck. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect. No, that's not what we are talking about. It's about recognizing what is still good in my life, what is still present right now that I can look forward to enjoying without me complaining, without me kind of like only seeing the negative. No. So you don't lose your mind in what is going on right now. No, you straighten up your back. You push out your chest and say, no, everything is going to be okay. And we are grateful within whatever it is that we are going through, because all things, whatever we call good or whatever we call bad, all of these things, when you get to the other side, all of them, they work together for our good. So I want us to take a bit of time just to kind of like, I just want to check, sir, you can hear me nicely. There's no,
Yes.
because my signal is not of the best at the moment. It keeps on telling
No,
me
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Brilliant. So what I want us to do this evening, I want us to look at a couple of points that will help us to focus on the power of gratitude. And just kind of like, just let's break it down and see, if I walk in gratitude, what are the benefits? How will that benefit me? And so the first thing that I want to highlight is that gratitude will ground you in the present. How many times kind of like when we having all kind of challenges, we are looking forward to the present. It's like, all right, I can't wait for me to achieve my goal. I can't wait towards the end of this year, because this is where I'm going to be. No, but it's almost like we are always chasing more. Now listen clearly. It's not like I'm saying that anything wrong with that, but what I'm saying is when we are grateful, it's like you are present, you are here, and you are in the here and the now, because we are always chasing money, more respect, more stability, more of that, more of this. But being grateful is like, all right, Kendrick, be grounded right here and right now, be present. Because when you talk about anxiety, it's almost like you're looking forward to the future, but you get into a place of being anxious because you're not sure what the future really holds, isn't it? And you get to a place of being depressed and you sometimes can't really deal with what's going on right now. But gratitude has the power to pull us back, to pull us into the here and the now. And it says, look again, man. Your hands are not empty. You have made it this far. Open up your eyes and see that all the challenges that you've been going through over the past 5 years, over the past 3 years, look where you are. Take a minute to reflect and to tell yourself that things are not as bad as it seems. No. You still have breath in your lungs, and you still have strength in your bones, and you have options. And I think what might happen sometimes, if we don't take that time to reflect on being grateful, it depletes our strength, because we are focusing on the wrong thing. Any thoughts from you before I move over to the next one, sir?
No, that's a really good one, especially when it comes to bringing it to where we are, because that's the interruption that we need, really, most times, because there is that push, like we're saying, of going to the next thing and then pursuing the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But it's not; those are not things you can do while counting your blessings, while counting to say, I've got this and I've got that and I've got that. Each time we put ourselves in the mode of looking for the next thing, we neglect what we have.
That's right.
And as we all know, whatever is neglected becomes nothing, because it's only what you know about, what you realize right now that will give you joy. For example, there's a time I was trying to save up some money for something, and I was just thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And each time, I'm putting in money, but I forgot that there was a money I put in an investment pot.
Yeah.
But when I open my account, I can't see it, because that's the whole psychology of it. You have to hide it before, so that you don't go and spend it. Until one day I received a letter, and he was saying, "Oh, statement, what?" I said, "What's this statement about?" I looked at it and I called them. I said, it looks like this was something I put in this account for a long time, but I can't see it. They say, oh, you need to switch it on for you to see it. Usually switched off so that you don't touch the money. That's why, and why I'm using that example is I had that anxiety of how am I going to get this? How am I going to get this? But I didn't realize that there was that money there. That's why I had that anxiety. It didn't neutralize the fact that that money was there. But because I didn't remember or realize at that point that there was money there, I was anxious for nothing. I was just, until I found out.
Yeah,
and that's how I want to make the point about if we neglect the presence or the fact that some things are in place, we will not remember that, we will not even think about it. Because it's when you think about, when you count your blessings, that's when you get that peace. That's when you understand that, actually, maybe if I'm chasing other things, my approach is different because, I know that at least God blesses me or I can achieve things. So this one, I will still achieve it, but I have to pursue it in a way that is right in the face of man and God. Else, you're going to be there, you're chasing it, you're saying, Lord, how can I get this one? Lord, please help me. But he's done some other things. Sometimes he's even solved that problem. But we don't remember. And the only way to remember is by spending some time in gratitude, sitting down and counting your blessings and saying, this is in reality, this is where I am. This is where I want to, this was where I dreamt to be a few years ago, but thank God I'm here today.
That's right. And I like the way that you even put it. Like, you see, most of us in general, we are either living in the past or we're living in the future. But we are not present. It's like we are annoyed with where we are right now. It's like, and obviously sometimes when you dwell in the past, it can keep you in a place of depression because you're not happy how things used to be, and if you look forward to the future, you're also not very happy because the future seems uncertain and you feel like, well, is this thing even going to come to pass?
Am I prepared for it?
That's right. Am I prepared for it? Am I ready for it? But if we are present, if we are grounded in the present, and if we are having an attitude of gratitude, there are certain things that we will. It's almost like it's kind of like bring me to the next point where we're talking about gratitude strengthens your mental resilience. When you are grateful, your brain rewires itself to look at what is actually currently working that I'm not seeing right now. I think that my whole life is chaotic. Everything is just kind of like falling apart. It's the kids, it's the wife, it's the money, it's the relationships with others, and it's work, business. It's like, what's going on? No, it's only because we need to shift our focus. And if we shift our focus on the right thing, not just what, it's because we look at what we think is broken. No, we need to just change our perspective and look at things from a different angle. And then you will realize, oh my goodness, I'm actually at a good place. Because when you are grateful, it builds your mental muscle. It's almost like it pushes you to see beyond what you experience with your five senses. Because life might hit you with setbacks, but gratitude will teach us to know how to bounce back and not break. But it is without a shadow of a doubt, it's a way of thinking. And if I don't position myself in a way, this is how I kind of like think through things. If I'm going through a difficult time, I will just by default, 1 second. By default, I will just focus on the negative, and I would start crying and I would start complaining, and I would say, oh, life is so bad, everybody hates me, God is not on my side, I wish I could just die. And no, calm down. Calm down. You know, it's take a minute, go and take a walk somewhere, go and sit on a rock somewhere and just think about, where you used to be, where you came from. And we're having a conversation. I went to see a very good friend of mine in Woking yesterday, and we had this conversation with a group of guys also, just family and friends meeting up. The very place where we're finding ourselves now, let's say, for example, we're finding ourselves in the UK, and you used to pray. You used to say, Lord, please take me to that promised land. Lord, whatever you do, just get me there. And it used to be the cry of your heart. And now, 10 years later, 15 years later, it's like, what in the world was I thinking? But we don't realize that some people will get on a boat, small little thing like that, and risk their life to get to this island, and we are complaining to say that things are not working out. No. Sit down, pause, reflect, and realize we are at a much better place compared to where we were last week, last month, last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We are at a good place. We are just focusing on the wrong thing. And that is kind of like an eye-opener, because if we can shift our focus, it means it changes our perspective, and we rewire our brains in how to view certain circumstances within our lives. The next one I want to bring up, and then Sir, just jump in whenever you need to jump in. So the third one I want to bring up is gratitude deepens relationships. Because gratitude builds connections. If you are grateful, you don't take relationships for granted. Because let me go back to me going to see that friend of mine yesterday. We kind of like was just introducing myself to some of the guys, and we realized that we know each other for about 30 years.
Ooh.
Think about that. How often can you actually say that you know somebody for more than 20 years? Or do you go through relationships like you go through, I don't know what can I compare it to, but do you kind of like get offended maybe very easily, and like you just maybe at a place where you don't really see a relationship where it's you supposed to, or the way you and I are supposed to see it. Sometimes when things are not going your way, you just say, no, I'm tired of this, I'm just going to pull out. No, work through it, because relationships, they are really important, and you can't just dump people, cut them off and cut them out because you and I, we don't get our way. No, go the extra mile to make sure that relationships last for as long as possible, because at the end of the day, you might have all the money in the world, but if you don't have people close to you that you can share that with, and your success or whatever it is that your pursuit is within this life, it's all about having people around us that we can share that with. That's what I believe. You see, and it is often without if we're not saying that the relationship doesn't come with its challenges, it does. And a man who can say thank you, I appreciate you, or I see what you do, becomes a man people can trust, because you don't take that relationship for granted. You do what you need to do to compromise, to make sure that that money I lend you is not as important than our relationship. Let's forget about that. Let's just make sure that we keep this thing going, because we are well connected. I appreciate you being in my life, but But if I kind of like just, I knew it, you were a loser long time ago. I could sense it when I met you the first time. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Because people are precious. People, you only realize that how precious people are, or we only realize how precious people are in our lives when we find ourselves alone on an island. Nobody to communicate with, nobody to reach out to when you're having a difficult time. No, we should not take relationships for granted. And gratitude helps us to deepen relationships. Whether it's with, whether it's the relationship with your kids or with your wife, your team, gratitude is that gap, is that bridge that closes the gap. So being grateful doesn't make you less than a man. No, it makes you more human, and that's where the power lies. So we need to make sure that we tap into that. Any thoughts from your side, sir?
Well, that's great. Again, it brings it's something to do with dealing with the present, because it's very easy to look at someone, look at the relationship, look at the people around you, and you make up your mind. Especially when things have just gone wrong or there's a situation that you're dealing with, it's very easy to just look at them, and just say, you know what, I can't deal with this. I can't. This is nonsense. This is But then when you sit down and then you start counting and say, you know what, I've actually done something worse than this in the past, and because that's the process. That is the process. There is something that David wrote in the Psalms. I've forgotten where the exact chapter. He said, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, He that forgives all my sin and cures all my diseases." Those moments of just bringing it to you, bringing it to yourself, because it's not just about God only, the relationship with God only. When you think about the people around you and you think carefully, you will find that there are certain times that they've forgiven you the wrongs you've done. There are certain times that they have helped to heal you in a way. It doesn't have to be an illness, but some have literally helped you to heal. If for example, when your missus wasn't there, when your missus had the accident, if you weren't there, do you see, you're not a doctor, but you're part of the healing. And the same thing with yourself as well. If you're not feeling well, those cold and cough that looks like you're going to die tomorrow.
That's the one. That's the one.
With very high fever, and then you're in a corner, you're going like that. But sometimes you find that your wife might have the same thing and she's still going around and doing what she needs to do. But once it hits you,
it's like everything comes to an end. Yes, sir.
You're in a corner. But then it's only when you sit down and you think about these things, you think, that's when it will hit you that, look, there isn't really any situation that I find myself in this relationship that will be worth me pointing fingers, because we're not all perfect.
That's it.
And if we're not all perfect, that means, there's something. If we haven't done something wrong, give it time. Give it time. It's going to go wrong. And if we think that way, then we'll bring ourselves to that place of gratitude where we are not only thinking about things that have gone wrong. Even if you think you've not done anything wrong, that you've been forgiven, you also think about other people's relationship, because that's some of the things that we look at. Some people have gone into relationships that has literally cost them millions of pounds in loss. That's happened to some people. But when if you don't spend time to sit down and think and say, what are the things that could have gone wrong in these relationships? If you're not able to do that, then that's moment of gratitude will not come. Because yes, maybe they've cost you 1,000 or 2,000, but they could have cost you 1 million. They could have actually made you lose your house. That sort of thing. They could, have put you into big trouble, because people have had friends who have involved them in businesses that they wouldn't have been involved in. But those things have not happened. But it's only when you sit down and you just think about those relationships, that you now say, oh, thank God for this. That's the thing that sort of grounds you and helps you to carry on, whether it's in terms of making sure you play your part now, or even being able to go and show your gratitude to that person. Because gratitude has got to be to somebody or to God, that sort of thing. If you're not able to sit down and just make a note and say, I was listening to a YouTube video, and the guy was saying that what brought him out of depression was he started journaling. Every day he would write 20 things that he's grateful for. Wow. Every single day he would write it. Not because of anything, but he just wants to write down things that he's grateful for. He said gradually he started waking up happier. Gradually he started being pulled out of that situation because his heart is now showing appreciation for what he has. And by writing it down, he's putting it to remembrance to say, listen, all those voices telling you, look, this thing is falling apart. We are going to go into the gully now. In fact, he's just waiting for the final nail. And that's it. That is not really true, because apart from that's going wrong, look at these 20 things today. Going right. And that really does the magic of now powering you to move on. Powering you to move on from where you are, powering you to move on with whatever relationship is, what it is that you're in, powering you to move on with whatever endeavor that you have, because now, that gratitude fills you, that it's possible. On the second point that you made about mental resilience, the way human beings are created, the nature of human beings, it's such that when we hit a roadblock, a very tough situation, and we go through it, that excitement lasts like 6 months at most. 2 years down the line, we hit most times something less than that one we hit 2 years ago. We go into panic. Oh my goodness! What is this? Oh, this is going to finish me off. This one is the last. This is the one. But if you're able to sit down and take a moment to think about your blessings, think about the positives that you have, think about the things you have, and actually give thanks for them, maybe to give you strength, even if the new one is bigger. Have a reference point to say, you know what, I've really been through very difficult things, and the Lord has seen me through these things. So with this one, I don't have any doubt He's going to see me through it. Because I'm not even now comparing the size of the two things. I'm comparing my state of mind when I hit that thing, because when I hit it, I was thinking it's not possible. But look, the Lord saw me through it. So even though this is possibly bigger than the last 2 years one, I still know that God will see me through it, even though right now, the way I'm thinking, it doesn't look possible. So that's how we then gather that strength, that resilience to now say, you know what, I'm going to continue to work on this thing. I'm going to continue to work on it. Else, we lose hope and everything falls apart.
That's right. And that kind of like take just everything that you said there now, it takes us nicely into the next point, because gratitude will silence entitlement and bitterness. Just think about it, because so many times we feel like we are entitled. No, this is my right. I have who says who? Because the world or people owes you nothing. Nothing. But the moment you start believing they do, or it does, you will start living angry. You will be bitter. You will just be resentful. You will just be like, everybody is just bad. And you just kind of like make stuff up in your mind that is not there, because you think that you are entitled. You are not entitled. Life does not just hand stuff to us. That's not how it works. you know, but if you walk in a spirit, because I believe gratitude is not something that you just decide to walk in it. You have to, it needs to come from the right place. I am so grateful, you know, just the fact that I got up this morning, you know. But if you make that part of who you are, it will be the antidote to the poison of that thoughts that come, that entitlement thoughts that kind of like try to take over your soul. No, it's like as soon as those kind of thoughts try to take over, you're like, no, I'm grateful. I know where I am. Things could have been much worse. You know, and it kills that victim mindset. That thing that, oh, poor me, why this is always happening to me. No, cut it off right at the root. Cut it off by knowing that, you know, it is by the grace of God that we are where we are, that what we're having. You know, the very fact that we got up this morning, it's not because there's somebody this morning that they didn't open their eyes. You know, somebody they tried to get out of bed, but the legs were not working. But we just think that, no, I have a right. These things just gotta be the way it's gotta be. No, but we gotta say yes to gratitude, and gratitude says, I'm not having everything I want, but I honor what I do have. I am grateful what I do have. You know, I don't take what I have for granted. And that kind of attitude alone will set you apart in a world that is always full of people that are complaining and people that are blaming. And, you know, that is a powerful place to be, because every so often we find ourselves among people that, you know, just complaining about the weather, complaining about politics, complaining about, you know, how, you know, the job that they cried for is so horrible. But when you didn't have one, you're like, Lord, just give me anything, man. Just I just don't want to do. That's it. I just don't want to be home, because I know if there's some motion, if you give me something, I know, and I have that grateful heart, some other doors will open up. But now you're cursing that this doggone job that is just taking my freedom of doing. No, we've got to be grateful. We have to look at things from a grateful heart. And the last one, and then, sir, as usual, just jump in whenever you feel free to do so. The last one that I want to bring up is gratitude unlocks purpose. Just think about it. It unlocks your purpose, and our purpose and our destiny is the most important thing that we can walk out on a day-to-day basis. Because when you are thankful for the pain you've survived, listen to what I'm saying. You are grateful for the pain that you've survived, the mistakes that you've learned from, the storms that you've kind of like outlived, that journey that you had to walk that wasn't easy. You begin to see your story in a different light, because you realize, I had to go down this route because there are certain lessons that I had to learn for me to be able to be the man that I am today. Because there are certain lessons that you cannot learn in a book. You cannot learn because somebody told you. There are certain paths we have to walk them. We have to walk our own Golgotha. We have to get onto our own cross and say, no, I have to go through this thing, because there's something that I'm supposed to experience. There's something that I'm supposed to experience that somebody can't just tell me about it. I have to walk through that. And the thing is, if I curse that, I'm basically cursing myself and my purpose, because there are certain things that you and I will not be able to do unless we have certain experiences. Otherwise, we will just be like puppets. We will talk about stuff that we've heard somebody else said. We will talk about stuff that we've learned in the book. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's hear what you've gone through, Kendrick. Let's hear what you've gone through, Chido, Monet, what's your personal experience? Because when you have your own personal experience, gratitude will just flow out. Just the fact that, oh my God, I came out on the other side. I thought this is the death of me. And then you realize, oh my God, there is some strength on the inside of me. And then suddenly you have such a different perspective on how to see life and how to be grateful for the tiniest little stuff that you go through. It will unlock purpose. Because when you are thankful for the pain that you're surviving, for the mistakes that you've learned, and for the storms that you've outlived, you begin to see life in a complete different way. Because gratitude frames your past. It gives it meaning. It gives it meaning. It gives it substance. Because you know that, no, I know what it is to go in and walk through that fire that I've heard people are talking about. No, I've been through it, and the meaning becomes the purpose. And then you can also add value to other people, because you can take your experience, and you're not coming now from a place of complaining. Now you're coming from a place of purpose. You're coming from a place of adding value to others. And you can open your mouth and you can talk with conviction, because you're not fabricating this thing. You know what you've gone through. You know what you've experienced, and you can add some value to the next person. That's why it is very important for us to not neglect the power of gratitude. Anything from your side, sir? Monet, thank you so much for jumping on, sir. Good to see you.
Good evening, guys.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. No, that's the more we talk about this topic of gratitude tonight, you just remind me of the similarity between gratitude and meditation. Because we live very, very fast lives. That's what modern technology and modern work life has given to us. We get really busy, but we don't take time to stop, because it's only when we stop that we can actually see what's going on. And it's when we start finding out what's going on that we're going to be grateful. And when we now have that gratitude, we now start looking for those sources of those things that's happening in our lives. And that's the purpose that you're talking about. Because when you see the possibilities that exist around you, these are things about, you were talking about people being in Africa praying to come to the UK or, better countries. They pray about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think all of us wake up every morning and we say, thank you, Lord, that I'm not in the middle of Cape Town trying to find one job or the other. I'm not in the middle of Lagos looking for a job or being sacked from one job or trying to pay my rent. I don't think we wake up doing that, because it's when we wake up with that sort of heart, or when we bring ourselves to a place where we recognize those things as things, journeys that we've traveled that couldn't have been possible, that we were desperately in need of one day. That's when we now see the value of what we have. Because there are some people who came here last year, for example, and because they just came here last year, and they've got what we have, what we've always had. They've made moves that is more impactful than the ones that we've made, even though we've been here for tens of years. That sort of thing. And that stems from the fact that, you suddenly find your place in a place that's really different, and you have that drive. And that drive comes from, oh, thank God I'm here. Now I'm going to make the best use of this opportunity.
That's right.
Because the more you stay, the more it becomes normal to you that, you live in a different place from where you were born.
Yeah,
it becomes normal. It becomes, everybody has that. So, I just need to find a way to come out of this this mess. In fact, how do I go back home?
That's right.
when we live in that way, in that gratitude, that's when our purpose starts to unlock, starts to unravel, because now you're seeing, okay, this is my journey. I used to struggle to pay my rent. Now I have a job that allows me to pay my rent. That's a journey. You've made that journey from that place to another place. And when you look at that, you look at it in awe of, this is amazing. And if that happened to me, if I could walk from point 1 to point 2,000, that means I can also walk to point 4,000.
Yeah.
So why not pursue that? I go and walk up to point 4,000. But you only come to that point when you are in a position of gratitude, because you can see the ground zero to 2,000. You can see that. And when you see that, when that's in front of you, most of us will not want to jeopardize that, because we think, oh, this is the hand of the Lord bringing me out of so and so. So if he has done that, all I owe him is to make sure that I continue to push. He didn't take me from point 0 to 2,000 for me to relax and say, yeah, now I'm here, it's done. No, he's calling us to the next steps.
That's right.
And the next steps. But the only way we can realize, even see, is by understanding and bringing ourselves to that point of gratitude for that journey from point 0 to point 2,000. And then it opens the way to the future. And we'll continue to do that. If we make time to show that gratitude, there's another package that's going to be unraveled. You've gone to 2,000, you're on 4,000 now. Yeah? And now there's 8,000 that's looking at you. And when somebody suggests 100,000, you say to yourself, you know what? I went from 0 to 2,000. It didn't kill me. I went from 2,000 to this. That's my journey anyway. I'm going to give it a try. If I fail, well, I've succeeded in the initial ones I've done. Who cares? That sort of thing. And then when you try it, in most cases, you make progress. And you're wondering, where is this stemming from? It stems from that point of gratitude to say, I have come to the realization that where I am is not my entitlement. Where I am, I got helped by someone, by God, to go from that 0 to 2,000. And because that's possible, that means if I dream again and say, now I want to go from 2,000 to 10,000, that same God is going to find a way to help me to go from that 2,000 to 10,000, all because you're showing gratitude for 0 to 2,000.
That's right. That's really powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that, bro. Mr. Rabi, anything from your side, sir?
Good evening, guys. No, yes, gratitude. We can only speak of gratitude, as you rightly said, Ken. Books can say something until you in it yourself. Until you experience it, then you write your own chapter.
That's right.
Like all of us, I'm just making an example of parents. We all have children. You could go to whichever book you were preparing you for as a parent. It was unknown territory for all of us. But each parent have their own experience. No book. Each one can write their own book about parenthood. Each story will be different. So each experience is different. We can only take here and there a couple of nuggets here, but each one can write their own chapter, their own experience.
That's it.
And going back what Chidozi said about the hunger and the drive. Yes, we become complacent. Yes, we become relaxed. Yes, we're beginning to settle now. We're in our comfort zone. And then we don't have that drive because we became too comfortable.
Yeah. That's right.
I gave myself a new challenge. I started today. Just going back to, I lost my drive. And I thought I'm going to go back to, I saw something again where we've been going past opportunities. And I said, yes, you can watch YouTube videos. You can do this. You can do whatever. But if you're not going to implement of what you've read, what you've seen, what you've heard, it's all in vain.
That's it.
And Jishan was with me. We went into this place to that place because I saw something, 2 vehicles. It was off the road. And I thought, and I took the registrations and I see it's been not MOT, not tax. So I went to those companies. I went in and I said, these vans are still good, man, and I'm gonna see if I can get the deal on this. I don't know where's the funds gonna come from, but I'm just gonna make a move. I went to this place. The one place said no. I go to the other place. That place said they gave me numbers. I made about 4 different calls. Nobody can give me, but I said I'm not gonna give up. It was just like, it's just about just keeping your head down and just start dialing, start talking, and people will help you if you ask. And so now I got another number for another guy that I need to call tomorrow. So hopefully I can, but it will be about the 6th person that I speak to about these. But it was just like, just head down again. I just start dialing and talking.
That's right. And that kind of attitude, just by taking action, you take yourself out of the zone of complaining, but rather acting. And which means, and once you kind of like have that attitude of gratitude, you realize, oh my goodness, thank God I even have the courage. That in itself is, is something to be grateful for, because some people will just oh, if I just can do something, or if I just have the courage to walk up to a stranger and just ask them about, because it's not a common thing. So well done on that, sir. And I think when we have a certain attitude, it is a way of thinking, isn't it? It's not something that just comes on you because you wish for it. It will require some work from our side to be able to step into a place where we are always grateful for where we are, knowing that we are not stuck. Yes. But we are just making sure that we don't keeping ourselves down through our attitudes and through our way of thinking by being in an attitude of gratitude. So, gentlemen, there we have it. We are almost at the top of the hour. We are almost at the top of the hour. So, just a quick reminder: you don't need more to be more. Just start by seeing what you already have, because remember, now gratitude won't fix everything. What it will do, it will change everything, because it will change the way you view things. Instead of seeing the negative, you will start seeing the positive. And gratitude, and a man that walks in gratitude, he has a different kind of step to him. He sounds different. He doesn't sound like everybody else. He leads different. His family and even amongst his peers, they will notice there's something different about this guy. They won't even know that the stuff that you are going through. Why? Because you're not complaining about it. You just get on with it and trust God to make things happen. So thank you so much for joining this evening, gentlemen. Thank you so much for everyone else that are listening to the replay on this. I hope that you've managed to get some value out of this session. And remember, we always welcome you to jump on and be part of the conversation, because we know that each and every one of us as men, we have a voice, we have value to bring to this platform, and we are waiting for you to show up, and I believe whenever you open your mouth, you will bring some good word. All right, so have an amazing week, guys. We're just gonna spend a couple of minutes in the back room, and we will see you all soon. All right, have a good one. Cheers. Thanks. Bye bye.
Right. Nice. Cheers.
Bye bye.